Hey, Ethical Energy community. This is Kim, and we are talking about the intersection of scripture in academics, in business, and industry. So, we're in season 12, and we are talking about dietary abstention and regimen. This is very, very relevant. We are around the corner before major multiple seasons of fasting and festivals. There's many holidays where there's going to be a lot of feasting. So this is very, very relevant. So to lead this off, we're going to be discussing Leviticus chapter 26, verse 2 through 5 and verse 9 through 10, how the altar food offerings are supposed to increase our sensitivity to our food supply, our management of food, and how our environment is affected by our fasting and our feasting. So let's take a listen. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and perform them, then I will give you rain in season. The land shall yield its produce, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Your threshing shall last till the time of vintage, and the vintage shall last until the time of sowing. You shall eat your bread to the full and dwell in the land safely. Verse 9. For I will look on you favorably and make you fruitful and multiply you and confirm my covenant with you. You shall eat the old harvest and clear out the old because of the new. So, semi-ethical energy community, this is a very real connection between the spirit and the natural, between the altar and the everyday food supply. So whether you practice the ancient altar covenant or not, it's still very relevant. Food is one of the most prayed over objects and currency in the human realm. It's very, very potent. So if we are going to observe the altar offerings or we're praying over our food, it's very important to also be praying for discernment as to whether our food is going to be jeopardized in the future or not. So the 3 points that this scripture really brings out is number 1, after the fasting and the feasting is done, our food supply for the everyday experience is still important, is majorly important. Number 2, our food transportation and how it reaches our plate must also be managed and very much under vigilance, because it affects whether we can observe both our spiritual practices involving food and if we can eat every day or not. Number 3, the environment. If our fasting and feasting negatively affects the environment, that is going to be a detriment to our faithful expression involving food. Because when we have to break the fast, we need food to break the fast, right? And then if we're in festivals and we are feasting, what does that communicate? If after the feast we are going back to bare bones, one meal a day, barely surviving, and that's not to knock people who only eat one meal a day, but what that communicates is we need to connect the provision of the altar with everyday provision, the supply of our food, and how we treat the environment. Food for thought, no pun intended, is that a truly advanced society has eliminated food insecurity. If we have applied our spiritual connection to food correctly, we have been sensitive and addressed food supply and food fairness across all of our populations. So as we embark on the fast approaching seasons of fasting and feasting, let's ensure that we have thought about the everyday experience and supply of food as well as the spiritual ones. Well, semi-ethical energy community, I hope you found this helpful and edifying. And if you did, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and check out the description, which has multitudes of features, and check out the rest of the channel. So without further ado, take care.